So, my friends, welcome to a new crypto update video. Bitcoin at 118,000 US dollars. We're still holding relatively steady at this price level now. We already talked about it yesterday in the live stream that I'm expecting another little leg up, but the risk that we might dip a bit lower again is definitely still there. We'll definitely take a look at that in today's update video. We'll take a look at the funding rates. We'll also go over the liquidity that's sitting lower down, or rather, the heat map, and of course the altcoins and the stock markets. So, we've got a lot to discuss and cover today. But before we get started, feel free to leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and of course, feel free to join the free Telegram talk and signal group. If you're interested in updates, news, and signals, you're more than welcome to join. You'll find the link for that for free down in the video description, and if you're still looking for an exchange to trade or buy spot, you can do all of that on my partner exchange, BingX, of course. You can find the link for that for free down in the video description or in the comment section. Just sign up, register, and claim your bonuses. Alright, so Bitcoin is at 117,900 US dollars. We already talked about this yesterday in the live stream. Bitcoin is holding up really well at this target level right now, or rather, at this level. We clearly saw a sell-off, but we're still holding above the 115,000 US dollar mark at the moment. If we look at the daily close, well, it wasn't exactly spectacular, but we didn't get a lower low. Instead, we actually closed right above these last, low points here. All good. There's a long wick to the downside, so that's something we need to keep an eye on. And if we take a look at it on the daily time frame, it actually doesn't look that bad right now. We still have a big red vector candle to the upside, but we'll get back to that in a moment. To the downside, we also have support, which I'd actually like to see get tapped. That's one of the aspects here. Let's switch over to the 4-hour time frame. We formed our top at 123,000 US dollars for now. We saw a sell-off yesterday. The CPI data came in a bit higher. Today at 2:30 p.m., the producer price index will also be released. That could also provide more data for possible interest rate cuts, which, at the moment, we aren't really expecting anymore. No one is expecting a rate cut in July anymore, and the risk that we won't get a rate cut in September is actually increasing, even if these producer prices keep rising due to the tariffs. So, for now, a rate cut is off the table. In any case, today at 2:30 p.m., the PPI data, that is, the producer price index, will be released. So, what could that mean? Basically, we're still bullish. Everything's fine, we're holding our lows and highs. That's why I expect that over the course of the day we'll move up again into the area of 119,500 or even 120,600. There's still a vector candle up here. You just saw it, there's a vector candle here on the daily chart. That would be a perfect 0.5 Fibonacci retracement level up to the golden pocket, meaning the 0.65 Fibonacci retracement level from our sell-off. After that, I expect we'll form another low, down to around 114,000 to 111,000 US dollars. Let me quickly turn off the indicator for this. Of course, we still have inefficiencies here, and there are also vectors in here. If we grab those and don't form a lower low below this, that's absolutely bullish. Of course, we can play this out here in the ABC pattern, and then basically complete the target level here first, and then start thinking about possible long positions. As long as everything holds here and stays within this range, that's good. Above all, it's worth mentioning that during the phase when Bitcoin dropped yesterday, some altcoins didn't move at all or even rose significantly afterwards. I'm just saying Ethereum, we'll talk about that in a moment. So, the altcoins are currently looking very strong. And as I said, after the sell-off, if we move up here and then have another sell-off, that would be a completely normal accumulation in this area, where, as I said, long positions could be opened again. Let's take a look at the funding rates. At the moment, they're still absolutely neutral. We have a lot, in quotation marks, a lot of red. Here, Hyperliquid currently has extremely high funding fees, it's unbelievable. But otherwise, we're absolutely in the neutral range, and everything fits like that. That means longs and shorts are pretty balanced. I'd say there are now more longs in the market again. We can especially see that if we take a quick look at the heat map. On the weekly view, we have a lot of liquidity to the downside at 115,000 and 114,000, really a lot, on the weekly view. Let's also look at the 3-day view to get a bit more confluence. Here as well, 115, 114K. That's exactly the area we were just talking about. Here, this 115 where we had the low yesterday, or down here at 114, where the 0.5 Fibonacci retracement level is. So it would make a lot of sense to go down to these areas again. We don't really have that much liquidity left to be taken to the upside. Again, just for completeness, here's the daily view. We see, okay, to the upside, 118, 119 also fits perfectly with our red box up here, that we could reach this and then break downwards with fresh liquidity. So that's the plan for Bitcoin for now. As I said, at 2:30 p.m. we still have the producer prices, and then we'll see how things continue. Let's move on to the altcoins. What's been happening there? Ethereum at 3,130, now perfectly in the golden pocket, still showing the bearish divergence. So here, you really should start to be careful. The thing is, as long as Bitcoin stays in this range, the altcoins can just keep going for now. At the moment, I still wouldn't short this thing, even though the divergences and everything else fit. But yesterday we also got a nice 4-hour candle here. That's why, for me personally, the risk is a bit too high right now. I'm still waiting here for the next few days. How will Bitcoin behave? How will the altcoins behave? Because we might still see Ethereum at $3,450 here. Solana, on the other hand, is still very, very weak in my opinion. We're still at the golden pocket area here. There's really not much happening at the moment. I have to say, I'm a bit disappointed. But here as well, just for the sake of completeness. On the daily, we still don't have a higher high. That means we're still trading in the golden pocket at this last high. We've only grabbed the liquidity above it. Other than that, there's hardly any movement here at the moment. Let's move on to the traditional markets. What's been happening there? Gold is still in a complete sideways phase. Absolutely nothing is happening here either. But it's accumulation. We're waiting for fundamental news that will shake things up. For example, JP Morgan's numbers yesterday weren't really that good. The banking sector might be struggling. It's still a bit too early. We need to wait for more numbers at the moment. But on the other hand, our friend the euro has reached its first take profit. After the US dollar rose significantly, the euro has finally started its downward rally here. We've been able to take some good profits here for now. I already said yesterday in the group that we're taking some initial profits and setting the stop loss to entry. At the peak, it already dropped by 1%, and now we're secured for the time being. So, what else is going on? DAX isn't really moving much at the moment. It's a sideways phase. Nasdaq, okay, keeps climbing up. Nvidia keeps pumping, that's fine. US Tech 100, sideways phase. Dow Jones, sideways phase. It's more like a bull flag, which we've already talked about in the past few days. Other than that, not much is happening there. So as you can see, apart from the Nasdaq, there are some important numbers coming out from ASML today. At least that's what I heard, or is it coming tomorrow? But I think it's still coming out today during the day. So please keep an eye on that. Otherwise, it's pretty quiet, I have to say at this point. Important, don't take on too much risk. There's really not much happening in the market either. As I said, for Bitcoin, going up would definitely be a short option, and going down would definitely be a long option. Otherwise, we talked in detail about the altcoins yesterday during the live stream, in my opinion. Feel free to check that out, and otherwise, I'd say that's it from my side. I wish you a nice, relaxing day. Take care of yourselves. We'll talk again tomorrow, and in the meantime, leave a like, subscribe, join the Telegram group, and we'll catch up tomorrow. Until then, ciao ciao, and as always, stay crypto.